All right, so we're back, and I filled out basically these other ones. If you want to pause the video at this moment and just go ahead and record these. Obviously, check 103 and 104. You're going to have to go fill out that paper check down on page 3, I think it was, in the actual book here, down all the gray checks. Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to do this one with you. All right, so same thing. We're getting it up of another check, from our job, deposit your paycheck, but we're keeping 60 bucks. So it looks like we have a check. Here it is on the right, but we're going to pull out 60 bucks. We're going to go buy a video game or whatever. Okay, so let's go ahead and fill it out. You would date it 131, and then your year would go over there, whatever year it is. Okay, I'll start on this side. Cash going in. Don't be confused. We're pulling 60 out. We're not actually putting any money in up here on this one. Remember, we put 50 bucks in, like birthday money or whatever it was. But here we don't actually have any cash. It doesn't say like, hey, you're putting in $100 or whatever. So nothing there. We are putting our check in. There it is, 752.37, 752.37. And that's the only check. They give you extra lines. And in real life, like if I remember like graduation, I'd always get like, 8 or 10 checks or whatever from all my family. You can actually turn this like slip over and there's a bunch more lines on the back if you had like all these checks. And then you can like bring in the total here and, add it up. But anyways, all right, total deposit is just the one thing, 752.37. Here's the less cash received. So now we're taking $60, 60 bucks out. We would tell the banker, hey, give me $60 right away, right now. So before I leave the bank, which means we only, what's left, what's actually going to go into our bank account and stay there, 752 minus the $60 we're pulling out right now. So if I do my math right, I believe that's correct. Yeah, 752 minus 60, 692 is actually going to go into my bank account and stay there, like into my checking account. And then we sign this line only if cash is received. We are receiving 60 bucks, and they would make you do it. You got to basically prove it's you. So they would actually take your signature. You would sign it here again, cursive or whatever, and they would compare it to the signature on file to make sure it's you that's, taking money out of this person's account. So that's that. Okay. And then also you would sign it here too. So same thing, cursive. Just write this, but normally I would sign my first and last name. And that's it. All right. And then now that I've done the recording, I need to go put it into my register, right? So 692 bucks. All right. There's a couple ways to do this. Some people will, I notice my gray lines have just gotten off. That's fun. Not a big deal. I do that right now. I'm a little bit off. Look at that. That's so funny. Okay. I don't really care. That's going to bother me. All right. So anyways, I can fix that later. We're on to a new white line. We're doing another deposit. And the date was, 128 was it? Or was it 131? Oh, it was 131. And it's very similar to this first one, right? So deposit. How much is this one? Some people will write the 752 here, and then they'll do the 60 there. I'm just going to make it simpler and write this because it comes out the same in the end. 692.37, 692.37. Carried over. Again, maybe you say paycheck, took out 60 bucks or whatever, just so you know what happened that day if you have to look back at it. And that's it. You just carry it over, right? So now we have our new balance. So I was down to 107 bucks the day before. I was getting low, right? Getting close to zero. But yay, got paid for my job, put in some money, and now we're back up to 800. So I'm feeling a little bit better about my checking account. And that's how that would go. Let's see, do we have anything left? We have one more. I'll just do it while I have you guys here. So check 105 for 450. So this is 105. It's on the 31st as well. Colonial Apartments. You're paying your rent bill here, 450 bucks. Carry it over. Maybe I would just say, actually, let's check. What rent bill is this? It might be February's rent. Look at that. It's February. Because you're basically, most landlords make you pay the rent at the beginning of the month. This is like the end of January, so I guess you're getting ready to pay February's right now. February. and that'll become a key thing to know for later. February rent. And then obviously I'd go down to the checks, the gray checks, right? Fill out check 105 and fill that thing out. All right, now we're coming down to our reconciliation pretty soon. So 131, it says, now you're ready to reconcile your account statement. So how it works in the real world, at the end of the month, whether you get it in mail or if, a lot of people like to have their bills sent to them or statements sent to them online, or you can just log in your account and see it. So you're paperless, you don't actually have to get the paper mail. But nonetheless, every bank account will kick out a bank statement, or as we call it, account statement at the end of the month. And it's basically, you've been up here recording all your stuff, just like I'm basically doing this. But the bank's also recording things, right? Because it's coming in and out of your account, and they track that. That's what they do. So it's kind of like you have their records, the statement, and then you have your records, what you got. So we're going to basically do a big comparison, and you want to make sure everybody agrees. What if the bank recorded something wrong, and then you're like, you know what? I wrote 450 and you guys had 430, and something got off. So you want to do this account reconciliation process. So anyways, the last thing they actually say, reconcile your account. And then they're talking about a $5 service charge. I'm going to go ahead and write that right now, just because they're saying, hey, your bank account charged these $5. I don't really know what you would put here. I guess fee. It's on the 31st. Just call it like a service charge or something like that, right? $5. So that's the bank. You didn't write a check. You didn't use your debit. That's just the bank. They're charging you $5 to use their account, which is how they make money. One of the ways. Just write bank fee, something like that. So now you've recorded it. Yeah. And usually the way you're going to learn about the fee is you're going to look at your bank statement. I mean, some people just know, oh, they're going to charge me every month. But usually you would actually look at your bank statement, which is this thing. And look at that. It's right there, $5. So that's how I would know if I did my reconciliation. I'd log into my account, be like, look at my statement. Oh, man, they charged me $5. I got to update, my records because I didn't even know about the 5. If I left it out, I think I have $5 more than I really do, right? So I had to update it and say, oh, okay, now I'm more like in the line. All right, so again, we're comparing this to the bank statement. And this is a little bit more of a complicated process, but not very difficult. And once you get the hang of it, you can just fly through. All right, so let's break this down a little bit. So your bank statement, this is kind of like the summaries, all right? So your beginning balance, remember we just opened this. This is our first month in our life that we had this checking account. So it started at 0, then it just says like everything that came in, those are all our checks, everything that went out, it's just a summary. And then this is where they think you leave off. So the bank's quite a bit different. They think it's 440. What do we have? 345, maybe $100 off. So something's up. So we need to reconcile what the difference is. And it's not necessarily that someone's lying or there was an error. Sometimes there's legitimate reasons. It's more like timing differences. And we'll get to that. Right here is checks and deposits. So those are all your negatives and positives. So there's the check, one of the checks we put in, and then negatives are, again, all the bills we were paying, right? And then this thing on the left is where we're going to fill in all the reconciliation. So they usually, a bank statement, just like they're doing it here, they usually give you this. They'll like pre-print it. It might be on the back of the statement, but they like do this form for their customers so they can just like quickly come here and just write it in and fill it out and figure out if their bank statement agrees back to their records and figure out what the difference is. All right, so for this, I've basically going to use this tab right here. Oh, not that, where are we at? Here we are. So I made the same thing, again, it's just on Excel. All right, here's an easy answer every month, one free point. Ending balance on statement. So what is it? Ending balance on statement. Ending balance, this is the statement, right? It's 440. You could even draw an arrow saying, every month, whatever this number is, it's going to go straight into the box. So I actually went ahead and already filled it out, 440. Step 2. Deposits not in statement. What does that mean? Basically, these are deposits that you put into the bank, but they don't actually show up on the statement. And this could be a timing difference. Okay, so this is the way it works. There's going to be a lot of back and forth here. And I'm going to start this up in a moment on the next video.